All right. Oh man. All right, guys. Let me hit y'all with a little disclaimer. Before we get started, I'm gonna play a little video to talk about what we fixing to talk about. I guess. Hang on. Here we go. Do this right quick.
1776, American patriots armed themselves and won their independence. After the Constitution was signed, the government was given the power to arm the patriots. That made some famous. The Second Amendment was born, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. What did the words of the Founding Fathers mean? Did they want the state to arm the people? Or did they want the individual to arm themselves? The Tommy gun era inspires the first federal gun control law. Assassinations spark more legislation, and the ban on assault weapons goes into effect. The Supreme Court has sided with the rights of the individual. Assault weapons, high-capacity magazines, gun shows, universal background checks, waiting periods, and due process. Where do we draw the line?
That's where I wanted to start. Let me say this too. If you guys, whoever gets on the panel, will be on Roku, right? You guys that jump on the panel will be on Roku TV. The people in the chat, no, you will not be on. Just keep that in mind. And I got rules too. If you come up here, then you need to mute if you're not talking. If you interrupt somebody, you will be put in the basement until that person you interrupted is done talking. All right. And if after that, if you keep interrupting, you'll be kicked off the panel. So just say it. Because Solo Yacker, I think this is the first time you've been on my panel, right? And I got the wrong logo up. So hang on, let me change that right quick. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's a nice,
I got some pretty sweet ones. There's some people, if you hadn't been on panels or whatnot, some people like talking over one another, and it gets annoying after a while. That's why I threw that the rules in there. I usually don't have to tell nobody, but some people just can't help themselves, including myself at times, depending on what we're talking about. Okay, Major League Awesome, if you want to kick it off, go for it.
Yeah, and to kick it off tonight, I want to read something from Supreme Court Justice Joseph Story out of his book called Commentaries on the Constitution of the United States from 1833. And it's just a short little spot here, but I'll start by saying one of the ordinary modes by which tyrants accomplish their purposes without resistance is by disarming the people and making it an offense to keep arms, and by substituting a regular army in the stead of a resort to the militia. The friends of a free government cannot be too watchful to overcome the dangerous tendency of the public mind to sacrifice, for the sake of mere private convenience, this powerful check upon the designs of ambitious men. Now, I wanted to go down further. I have a link to that I'll try to put in the comments after the show. It's called Sources on the Second Amendment, but it goes into, it says right here that 5 states that ratified the Constitution also sent demands for a Bill of Rights to Congress. All of these demands included a right to keep and bear arms. Here in relevant part is their text. And New Hampshire put it in as the 12th Amendment and said, Congress shall never disarm any citizen unless such as are or have been in actual rebellion. In Virginia, it was proposed as the 17th Amendment, and that said that the people have a right to keep and bear arms, that a well-regulated militia composed of the body of the people trained to arms is the proper, natural, and safe defense of the free state. that standing armies in time of peace are dangerous to liberty and therefore ought to be avoided, as far as the circumstances and protection of the community will admit, and that in all cases the military should be under strict subordination to and governed by the civil power. Now, a lot of these rest New York, North Carolina, Rhode Island, they're almost identical in what they say. In New York, it says that standing armies in times of peace are dangerous to liberty and ought not to be kept up except in cases of necessity, and that at all times the military should be under strict subordination to the civil power. So, from what we're understanding today to what was originally conceived back then is quite different, and I'm going to yield the floor to Mr. Solo Yacker. He's got some information to share with us, and he's I'd say a leading expert on the Second Amendment activism that's taking place today in our community.
Good evening, gentlemen. Real quick before you started, Solo, I just wanted to say hello. Go ahead.
Hey, eyes on the state. Thank you, Major Lee Awesome, NC Tyrant Hunter. Thank you for allowing me on your show and being part of this. And just like Major Lee Awesome was saying, Rogue Nation, here, especially here in Florida, Florida actually was an open carry state. Pre-1987, Florida was an open carry state. Our laws were very, very restrictive, if you will, but we did have open carry, and then Florida was actually the first state to actually start introducing the concealed weapons license, and then other states followed suit. So if you can blame anybody, you could blame Florida for the concealed weapons license, or the whatever license that you can use to conceal with. You could blame that partly on Florida, because we were the first state that actually started doing that. And through all the stuff that we're dealing with, even till present day, we've only seen more restrictions. We have over 30,000 laws on the books. We have so many federal laws that we have to follow, and we have to follow all of these laws. And I'm gonna tell you, it's difficult for anybody to follow all these laws. And that's half of what I try to do, is try to educate people on what they can and cannot do, whether it be openly carry, concealed carry, driving your car, whatever the fact may be. That is a lot of what I try to do.
So what is the stipulations, Solo Yacker, that you got to have before you can carry a firearm now, today?
Disclaimer: nobody's a lawyer.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, but what the stipulations are mainly, if you do not have a concealed weapons license, you can carry your firearm in your car, but it's going to have to be like in your glove compartment. It just can't be readily available. You always want to have it either in a holster, something to that effect, in your glove compartment. It's not going to be able to be sitting. It just cannot be readily accessible. And usually any one of your glove compartments, whether it's the side one right on your side, as long as it's in a holster in your glove compartment. And then other than that, Florida is not an open carry state unless you're fishing, hunting, or camping on your place of business, your property, going to a gun range. There are very few exceptions that allow you to open carry. So traditionally, Florida is not an open carry state at all, under certain exceptions.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. What the part that you just mentioned, far as carrying, and I know, and again, we're not lawyers. We just I just wanted him to tell what he does. This don't pertain to everybody. And you can, have to research it yourself. I employ everybody to do that anyway. Welcome, James Madison.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
Yeah, man.
James Madison, good guy. I met him once or twice.
Right.
3 times actually.
So here in North Carolina, we do have open carry. I love to open carry. I do it as much as I can. You know, if I'm not going into government buildings, of course, I usually have it on me. And I got a concealed carry as well, but I like the open carry probably 90% of the time. It's just me. It's my preference. You know, the state allows it, so I use it. Right. Every time I get a chance, I got my firearm hanging from my side, and I love the open carry law. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think it really stops trouble before it even starts. I mean, when someone sees that on your hip, they know that it's not playtime. You know, they know somebody might get scuffed up a little bit, so it tends to keep crime down. You know, there was a town in Georgia, it was called Kennesaw, and back in the 80s, they made it to where everybody that could have a gun was, you know, sort of like regulated into buying a gun. So there was a big to-do about it, and they swore that there would be blood in the streets. And what happened is that even though the town has grown like 3 times its size since then, crime has pretty much remained the same. And, you know, part of the factor is because the criminals around that area know that every home there pretty much now has a gun. So, I mean, you know, from a criminal standpoint, if you got a town over here where everybody's pretty much armed, and you got a town over here where pretty much no one's armed, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory where the criminal's going to go. You know, obviously no criminal's out there looking to get shot over a, you know, gold necklace in someone's jewelry box. But if they've got a, you know, pretty good idea that they're armed and you're not, then it makes it, you know, that much easier for them to make that decision. You know, I don't understand the logic some people have and not, you know, providing protection for yourselves. The courts already have declared that the police's job is not to protect you. And I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, no cop's going to get there before the guy shoots you or cut you or beat you with the bat. I mean, those kinds of confrontations are instantaneous. You know, even if you were lucky enough to get out your phone and dial 911, I mean, the guy's still beating you in the head twice with the bat. You're unconscious now. You know what I mean? So,
right.
I mean, it's this, I don't know, mentality of saying, oh, well, I'm not worried about it. And, you know, the police will protect me or whatever. I mean, shit, they don't, you know, solve half the cases they've got now, much less protect your ass, you know? So not only are you not going to get protected, it's like a 50% chance your attacker's never going to be caught.
No doubt.
It's like family or something like that, you know, ex-girlfriend or something stupid like that, which I just watched a great compilation of crazy ex-girlfriends today.
Right. And I agree, Major Lee. That's exactly why I open carry. Just exactly what you said. They more apt not to do anything if they see a weapon. If you got a weapon tucked in your shirt or in your pocket, they don't see it. They're more likely, if they're going to commit a crime, rob you, steal from you, you know, or harm somebody else. If they see that gun hanging on my hip, they less apt to do that if they see it, because they say, hey man, I don't know if I want to take that chance that this guy might be good. This guy might be really good with that gun. And I am, by the way, just so y'all know. We got disorderly product news in the house. Welcome.
What's up, DPN?
What's up, buddy?
No, there's a break. What's up, James? DPN?
Yo.
Well, Solo Yanker, what's up, buddy? It's my guy. I watch all his videos. James Mays, oh my God, this is the best day of my life. Christmas came early in Chicago.
Right.
What's up, Rogue? What's up, Eyes on the Stage? What's up, NC Tyrant Hunter?
What's up,
Go ahead.
man?
I didn't mean to interrupt you guys. Go ahead. I just want to listen.
You got something? I'm sorry. You got something to add, DPN? You got a story about the Second Amendment?
No. What's the Second Amendment? Is that not shelter enemy troops?
Yeah, right.
Because I'm not for that at all.
That's the next one, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's you have the right to remain silent. Right? Oh, come on. Something about a handgun or bear arms? I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm just here to listen, dude. Honest to God, I'm just here to listen. I'm from Chicago. You're not even allowed to have a fucking sharp stick around.
I know, but we was born with all these rights, man, and I don't understand how we can't open carry in every state in the U.S. I mean, that's what we should be doing.
Right, like when the founders made the Constitution, the second it's a framework, right? Because it's got to be liquid because society changes. But the Second Amendment is the most full, basic. You have the right to bear arms. There, you can't hide behind anything. You can't. It's not ambiguous. It's not anonymous. It's the most forward one out of all of them. Where there is no but.
It's to protect all the other rights that are there.
Yeah, exactly. And they made it so forward. You have the right to bear arms. Like if you can't remember that one, like the other ones.
Yeah, that's the main one I can remember. That's for sure.
Of course, right. I mean, because it's literally 7-10 words. The other ones, the spirit of it, but you might not know the whole. You know what I'm saying? But they made it. They made it that way as for a reason. Like they didn't just, happen that way.
And it's not supposed to be infringed, but I mean, damn, they don't do it anyway. I mean, they somehow get around it with all these courts and these freaking laws and ordinances. Mayors just act like I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm just here to listen. I want to listen. Yeah, right, Crispy. I just want to listen. Honestly.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is going to be an awesome panel right now. I mean, like, you got some of the top dogs of a lot of stuff right here. I mean, this is
what's up, yo?
Pretty awesome panel.
Hey, can we just
what's up, Solo?
Talk about the elephant in the room?
James.
Rights Crispy looks like an eBay version of Johnny Knoxville.
An eBay version of what?
Johnny Knoxville.
That was too funny.
All right, let's stay on topic,
Johnny
guys.
Knoxville. You guys have never seen me with short hair. It's like, I think when I started doing this was when I first started growing my hair out. Since somebody has a bad echo.
Well, it ain't me.
It's not me.
I don't hear it at all.
If everybody could mute while you're not talking.
No. It was me. It was. I had it
but
playing
you
in the
still
background.
need to mute for not talking, regardless. Whoever. So you got something to add, rights?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm a big proponent of the Second Amendment. Not as much as Solo Yacker. I love that dude, man. That guy there are two kinds of balls in this world. There are big brave balls like that guy has, and little mincy balls. That guy, he to go out there like that, I mean, it's awesome. But this guy knows the responsibility that comes with our rights. All of our rights come with responsibility. You know how we have those restrictions, time, place, and manner, where we can't go into a place after it's closed or whatever? Well, we can't go in Florida. We have the stand your ground law. We can't go and step on someone's toes and then stand our ground. Like, I can't go to the trap house down the street from my place and just start recording and mess with them and kind of like provoke them to come out. And then if somebody does anything slightly physical, I pull out my gun and shoot them. I can't do that. That's happened here before. Our sheriff actually pardoned the guy, and then there was an uproar, and then they ended up prosecuting the dude with that in the parking lot, the handicap spot. You know what I'm talking about, Solar Yacker? How do you feel about that one? Was that a bad shoot or a good one? I mean, the guy did shove him to the ground, but the dude was the aggressor. He was like shouting at the lady and stuff.
He started. That's the whole thing about it is if nobody ever needs to be shot. Nobody ever, like that a lot of that shouldn't have happened. Should they have parked in that parking spot? No. Should that guy have been as aggressive as he was to a woman in a car, and then your girlfriend, whatever, comes out and sees somebody being aggressive towards their person? I'm probably gonna do the same thing. I'm probably gonna push the guy and be like, hey man, but at no point was that guy's life in danger. Like,
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, the dude shoved him to the ground, and then the dude saw that the guy was reaching for a gun, and he was like, oh shit, I don't want any of that. And the guy just pulled out his gun and fucking fired away when the guy was retreating already. That was a bad shoot.
The whole thing that happened with that, he's going to see his day in court. Hopefully he has a good lawyer to try to lessen the charges or whatever. I don't agree. Like, once again, the shooting half of it, I think it was uncalled for, because once again, he was an aggressor. He aggressed the situation and then got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. But
but
for me, if you see my channel, I'm not the aggressor. I don't go out. I'm always the, hey,
you're living the dream, bro.
Living the dream. How are you doing today? I'm living the dream. I'm like, that's the one thing I always try to emulate. But there's a switch that happens, and when I see that the interaction with police is going in a bad direction, that's when I tend to stand up for my rights, and that's when people say I'm a little too aggressive. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. I'm not trying to deal with court. I'm not looking for, as much as I want to say I'm looking for a lawsuit, I'm not looking for a lawsuit. That's not what this is about.
That's the time to lay down the law, literally lay it down. I just jumped in like that and had to say that, and we lost DPN. It was a rebuttal to his saying that it's pretty cut and clear that, we shall have right to bear arms, but it's a well-regulated militia.
Right on.
Those are the first words. We have to be well regulated. We can't just have some person that, look, there's an example. Right after the Aurora movie theater shooting back in 2012, right after that, there was a big uproar about the movie shooting, and there was a guy who shot up like a mall in Washington State, and there was a concealed carry owner who heard the shots. He's with his girlfriend and her baby. And he's like, oh, man, is this really happening? She's like, yeah. So he went and took cover behind a pillar, waited till he could, like, get a bead on the guy. He trained on him, but he saw that there was an innocent bystander behind him, well-regulated. He didn't open fire and, like, maybe kill an innocent person. The bad guy saw him, like, looking at him, and the bad guy pulled his rifle, put it in his mouth, and ate a bullet. So he managed to take out the guy without ever having to shoot. That was spot on. I mean, I wish it could go like that every time, but at the same time, like, you got a gun, make sure you go to the range twice a month. You know what I mean? Hone your skill.
Learn how to use it.
Well, that's what a well-regulated militia meant back then. Because obviously, again, like I read at the beginning, they didn't believe in having standing armies. They believed that standing armies were a threat to liberty. But on the other hand, you couldn't just have people that had guns and didn't know how to use them in the defense of their country or defense against the tyrannical government. Again, from all the readings that I've taken from back then, the people that were doing this, they wanted protection against tyrannical government. It wasn't about the mugger. It wasn't about the rapist. It wasn't about, somebody coming up and stealing the king's, penneth coin or, whatever. It was about tyrannical government, about being in a position to where people in charge could do whatever they wanted and you had absolutely no recourse. I mean, you could say that protesting is recourse and writing letters and voting is recourse, but I mean, that's just, fooling ourselves really. Because these people,
yeah, go ahead.
These people don't understand letters and protests and stuff like that. I mean, no king has ever been toppled because somebody was marching out in the street, and even if
It's
that
like,
tyrannical,
okay,
right,
I'll leave.
right,
Never.
Yeah, and I
right.
don't.
Just like it said, let them eat rotten fruit. Back
Let
in
them
the,
eat cake. Yeah. Hey,
yeah,
I just
back
want to
in
say
the-
also, I came in to say that, and DPN is gone, but I also want to say thanks to Jeff. Thanks to Rogue Nation for letting me know this was going on. Eyes on the State, James Madison. Raji, I don't know who you are, but it's a nice to meet you. Solo Yacker, high five. And
Yeah,
Peanut, hi,
I
Peanut.
was gonna ask Peanut. I was gonna ask Peanut after I asked Raji. Raji, you got anything you want to add about this?
Yeah, I'm in California, and yeah, definitely have a lot of thoughts on guns. I own one as well. I just went through the whole process a few months ago to own one here. I've used to own in Indiana. I had a carry permit years and years ago, and then with the changes in the world today, I decided to get one while I can, because obviously things change fast, and not only that, just the demand and the demand is going up, right? So I decided to get a piece, and I have a new one. Solo Yacker, you do amazing work, by the way. I love yours, and I just think it's so interesting. Remember that we have to. I love the auditing community, but I love how it's so diverse, because I find a lot of diversity in the political side of things. Just remember that anybody that's screaming blindly blue lives matter, what life is going to come take your gun if that were to happen, which everyone stockpiles for, right? The only lives that are going to take, ain't gonna be me. I ain't gonna do it just because I'm a citizen, right? It's going to be me going, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to eat popcorn and watch them take your guns and go, oh yeah, I thought blue lives mattered. You know what I mean? Because those will be the guys taking your guns away if that ever actually happened, would be cops, right? So we have to be even-handed here and say, okay, you know what? These social guys right now are having their deal with the police. Let's kind of understand and hear them out, because one day that might be the person who's not worried about the social aspect of it that people are fighting the cops for. It might be you worried about your gun rights that you're fighting the cops for, and we need to all be united when that happens, right? So take up a little bit of empathy on our side for the social aspect, because we'll be there for you when they come for your guns as well.
Absolutely, well stated.
Is
Peanut,
it something that they would actually be able to do? Like Rogue, isn't it 2/3 of Congress, and then they'd have to actually enforce it?
I don't think we'll ever get there, but I'm just saying a lot of people live based on hypotheticals. That's why they're buying a lot of guns and stuff right now. That's why they do it every time a Democrat gets in office or does well. It's all on hypotheticals, and they buy them and stockpile them. There are regulations. Yes, Solo is about to jump in there because they've regulated what you can have. You can't own a bazooka, and in California, which is the strictest state, I mean, I have to carry my gun. My gun has to be in a locked box, or it's self-locked, right? I have a revolver, so it has to have a little lock. If I don't have a box, I have to put a little lock a wire through through it so they can't close the cylinder. And then the ammo itself cannot be stored in the exact same basket or bucket or bag or case. The ammo has to be set, even if it's in the same trunk, right? The ammo has to be separate from the actual gun, and it can't be loaded when I'm traveling with it unless I have a carry permit, which is actually getting easier.
Even an empty cartridge here in Florida, if you have a just brass sitting in your cup holder, even though your weapon is secured, all your ammo is secured, just an empty brass sitting in the cup holder, they could be like, oh, that's unsecured ammo. Because in Florida, all you have to do is have it one step away, right? This is my concealed carry class teacher told me this, that she got stopped by a cop and said, no, I have my gun, but it's put away. And the cop was like, oh, but what's that brass right there? And they gave her a ticket for it. So maybe it wasn't, legal, but they just messed with her because of that.
Most of the things
I just saw Solo Yacker shaking his head through it though.
No.
I want to know. I want to know if Peanut's got something to add. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, guys, a lot of testosterone. Can a female chime in?
Yeah, you got
Sure.
something to add on the Second Amendment?
Yes, I do. First
Okay.
of all, I want to thank Rogue Nate. I want to thank you, Jeff, and I want to thank Rogue Nation and Rights Crispy and Eyes on the State for supporting me. And Soliaker, I love your work. I am a supporter of the Second Amendment. I'm also a supporter of the red flag, which is not very popular. But the reason why I do it is because I do believe that individuals with mental illness should not own a gun. And in specific, not just because of their mental illness, but because of the prescription drugs that they take, because of the black box warnings that increase the risk of violence and suicide. I testified before Congress in 2007. I testified before the White House Conference on School Safety. It's a huge issue of prescription drugs and firearms. And so I do believe in the red flag. But the problem is with HIPAA, we shouldn't violate anyone's rights as far as medical issues are concerned. So I kind of backed away from it because what they were trying to push forward was exposing everybody's medical problems or
Yeah, that's the slippery slope there.
yeah.
I was
So I
of the
backed
mind
off
that
of
we
it.
should have like a 3-month long process for you to get guns. You should get trained first in like safety and procedures and then laws. And then like your final month, like your 3rd month, you're going every night after work to this class. You get to actually fire the weapon and you get marksmanship training. And at the end, all these former military veteran instructors that actually have a cool job now meet on a panel with psychiatrists or psychologists who have been along the whole 3-month process evaluating everybody that's going through the thing. And then they could determine whether or not they should keep an eye on somebody, not whether or not they should take his gun.
Well, you know what, right? And this is the
But I
problem.
walked away from that too because that shall not be infringed. But go ahead.
Right,
And speaking of, you do have enough testosterone. The way you stuck up for Wolfie against that big blob, that was awesome.
Yeah.
You're a tough lady. Thank you for that.
Well, I love my Wolfie, so but I look at it this way: it's difficult. A lot of my family members are military. They're also NRA members. And we fought starting back in 2003 with the military suicide because we knew a particular drug, which was called Lariam. We knew that it was causing violence and suicide within the military population, our soldiers. It took Congress and the military from 2003, when we first started advocating it, to 2013 to actually ban the drug for the use in our military. And it was for malaria. It's a malaria drug. It took 10 years and so many lives lost from a drug. So, it gets heart-wrenching at times. So, I don't know how you all feel about that. I'm just a mama, I'm a woman, and
I agree. I know so many people who go to the VA that are on a dozen different meds, and if they just switched to smoking pot, they would have been a lot better off than they are now.
well, you know
And
what?
some that have actually done that and proven my point.
It was weird because when I attended the White House Conference on School Safety in 2006, that I actually had a debate head-to-head with Attorney General Alberto Gonzalez, and then the head of the CDC stepped in. And, it went back and forth, and the only media that covered it was Fox News. But it was great that the Secret Service said, oh, wow, what information do you have? And I said, well, you don't know. They just had congressional hearings a couple of years ago. What are you missing? So, it's a mental health is a very passionate issue. I also believe in the Second Amendment, but there's got to be a way to just keep everybody safe. And
Yeah, and somebody said you can't have a bazooka, but I knew a guy who had several bazookas. He had everything from, a little pea shooter, all kinds of vehicles, up to a MiG. He had a Russian MiG, and he made a whole museum with it.
If you're allowed.
Huh?
If you're allowed.
But he's not walking around with it.
No,
at all,
actually, the mechanics who run all that equipment in perfect order, everything runs, would take some of the tanks to go get beer and stuff. At the end of the day, they'd roll down the street. Like, the streets weren't torn up or anything. They'd roll down the streets and get themselves some beer in that tank. And of course, they were okay with the police. The police were like, "Oh yeah, that's from the Armed Forces Military History Museum." That's,
yeah. Well, I have a quick question for Sol.
but it was a private owner's whole collection. Last thing. The museum had a periscope, like a legit periscope from a submarine. It would pop out the roof, and you could see the MiG in the parking lot and everything. It was awesome.
Go ahead.
What was your question? Sorry.
Go ahead, Peanut.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my question was for Soliaker, because I know he does belong to a lot of organizations, and even after speaking with family members who are in the military and everything, and folks in the NRA and others, whether or not the organizations that he's with, whether or not they discuss the use of prescription drugs with firearms.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we got you.
All right. Well, with prescription drugs, if they're prescribed, that one's going to be a tough one because certain drugs are still considered, I guess, class 1 drugs or whatever, and you can't, like, if you have a medical marijuana license, I agree that you should be able to do whatever you want. Like, marijuana is the least of my concerns, or anybody's concerns. It's always like the cocaine, heroin, all the other ones, but
Right. But
on your FFL, if you sign off that you're not addicted to any depressants, such as any of those drugs that we were mentioning, you cannot have those firearms.
Right.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying that's just the way it is.
Right. Well, the particular drugs that I'm talking about are prescription drugs that are prescribed to you by your physician. Okay.
Now, I have one quick question. Why is one major drug that causes a lot of problems, alcohol, not included in any of these considerations too?
Money.
Right.
No, and I'm not gonna fight that one. It's the way the law is written right now, man.
Yeah, but the law does state, like, if you're carrying a weapon concealed, you shouldn't be drinking. Doesn't it?
No.
You're allowed to drink and have a firearm on you?
No, in North Carolina, South Carolina, it is a felony if you are drinking and carrying. It's a felony.
Florida is completely different. It's gonna be about you if you happen to be in some kind of involved shooting and you are wasted out of your mind, that will come up. But long as you're following the law and you're having a couple drinks, long as you're not at the bar, you can drink and carry a firearm. There's nothing in Florida. There's nothing stopping you from drinking some beers. I wouldn't do it openly carrying. That's just going to cause a whole lot of more problems. It is possible to do it. I don't recommend it, but drinking in Florida is completely allowed, long as you're not ponied up to the bar.
And I'll tell you what, if that happens, don't submit to any breath tests. Don't
do nothing.
I have a warrant, and I'm not an attorney.
Yep. No, I'm not an attorney either. I'm just saying I have been told we can drink. We can, but if you are involved in some kind of shooting, and they think that you're intoxicated, my best suggestion is just to remain silent and just wait.
And
Say,
this is not legal advice. We are not attorneys. Do not.
no, none of this. I'm just saying, you can drink. I'm just saying your best bet's not to. But every now and again, I go to Chili's. I'll sit at the friggin' restaurant and I'll sit there and have a beer or two. And I'm carrying, but I'm not at the bar.
Right. Being at the bar, I know is like a definitely written down thing.
That
but
is being at the bar.
let's say somebody here is like, oh, but I smoke pot. That's gonna chill me out more than anything.
Yeah, but pot,
what if they got like sold some bad pot?
No,
they got spice or something like that, and they're crawling up the couch out the window and starts shooting.
We're talking about alcohol and marijuana that is actually still illegal by federal law. And
right, I was just playing devil's advocate.
I know.
We were talking about that.
That's my job.
I know numerous.
Oh, what's up, 10th man? I haven't seen you in forever, bro.
Guys, I just want to bring up one issue, if y'all don't mind, because I know you're talking about alcohol. You're talking about illegal drugs. What I'm talking about is legal prescription drugs, which are legally prescribed by your doctor. And these drugs have side effects.
James?
There are over 40 medications, starting from antidepressants to antibiotics to sleep medications to a different array.
All the stuff that is a byproduct of our war in Afghanistan and other places, right?
Right.
Yeah. If I may.
I think James Madison is going to be a good one to answer this question.
Yeah, but let me continue on. What we did was, even when we call the drug Lariam, which was to treat malaria for our military folks, and it was causing them to kill themselves. It was the side effect. The military finally became aware and said, okay, we're banning it. But it took 10 years and too many lives lost. The issue that I have here is it's called involuntary intoxication. When do we hold, everybody deserves the right to own a firearm, but we also need to hold others responsible for letting, when you prescribe a drug to us, please tell us what the side effects are. And that's what we fought the FDA and Congress for. And we got the patient medication guides. But apparently they're not being distributed to those, they go to their doctor and the doctor says, oh, this will make you feel better. But unaware that it can make you violent and suicidal.
If I may.
All right. Hang on, Tent. Okay. James Madison's been up here for a while. You want to say something about this, James?
Yeah, so legal drugs in Florida that you're prescribed are just what they are. They're legal. You're okay to have it. It's up to an individual that should have the responsibility to know those side effects and consult with his or her doctor for that. Now, once you get on them, it's hard. You might not have the mindset to do it. So hopefully you have a good family support system. But if you widespread banning anybody that takes Percocet and oxycodone, that's what makes me really angry. And you start banning widespread that because that drug does it, and then you're trampling on rights here. So I think you have to take it to an individual responsibility of the doctor. Maybe when he's prescribing it, they start asking, do you have any firearms? I recommend that you put them away or get rid of them or send them to someone else. But I don't think you need to make a law on a widespread thing.
Well, I'm going to take it a step further.
If I may.
I think a lot of maladies can be cured without medication.
Let me finish, please. Back in 2003.
Peanut. If I may.
Hang on, Tent. Let me run this. All right. Hang on just a second. Let 10th man say what he's got to say right quick before you change on to something else. Go ahead, Tent.
Just a lot's been said. So a statement was made that red flags for mental illness. That's what James was just touching on. And just to elaborate on what he's saying is, number one, which mental illnesses and what truly is mental illness. Secondarily, we're talking about different types of drugs and that making you be susceptible to red flag laws or not being able to have guns just, based on a doctor's opinion. But as a fake internet doctor, I can tell you that drugs of any type react differently in everybody's anatomy, right? It's very, very complicated. So I'm very confused when shall not be infringed changed to based on other people's opinion, when it's not actually, like, we're not talking, if you're testifying in Congress about your feelings about how these things make you feel,
You know
it's
what,
not based
Here,
not based
bro.
on
Like,
science.
Hang on, Peanut.
This is not
Don't
about
all
interrupt.
those valid points.
you know what, y'all.
All right. Well, I warned you once. I told you the rules before we started. Don't interrupt, or you're gonna get put in the basement. Continue, Tent.
Well, I'm just saying it's not based on science. It's based on feelings, and just it just seems like that type of sentiment is punishing people who haven't actually committed any type of crimes. You're punishing innocent people, right? It's just like, I think it was James or somebody was saying about, it's personal responsibility. You have to be responsible for your actions. Other people don't get to dictate to you that you might have actions that make them sad. That's not the way society is supposed to work.
It's like that person can make that mistake, and the laws that we have are to correct that behavior, not to preempt it. And all of your valid points are what made me fall back on the beautiful experiment of our Constitution and those words, shall not be infringed. I had all those thoughts, like, yeah, but what about this? What about that? Maybe we should do this. 3 months, psychiatrists, so they could determine those, whatever those maladies are. You know what I mean? But you go and get medication for something right now that is made by some idiot who was drunk himself one day and made a bad batch, and something could go wrong. So we can't like, again, no preemptive stuff.
Yeah.
More time.
Well, go ahead, Solo Yacker.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, if we can really talk about it, like that preemptive stuff, if we can look at Nicholas Cruz, like down in Parkland, I hate saying his name, but that's going to be a very specific name that I could say, is that Nicholas Cruz had been talking about it, had been saying he was going to do something. There's a preemptive stuff. I get if you've got somebody that has issues and that's saying they're going to do something, I'm not saying go strip their rights. What I am saying is watch them. Keep a preemptive eye on them about what they are doing. If they're continuously on social media saying they're going to do something, they are somebody to watch. It's not about stripping
What
their
if they were
rights,
playing Call of Duty, though?
because, until they're done. He wasn't talking about Call of Duty, bro.
No,
don't
I know,
confuse that, right,
but they can.
He
No. I'm just saying they can take like
We're
some
talking about-
words and use them
Come on,
against
right,
us to
right,
watch
right,
us.
Right? No, he put it out there in public. It's just like you on YouTube. You put something out there and you're saying you're going to do something. It is anybody's responsibility. If you're saying you're going to hurt somebody, it is somebody else's duty to report you for saying you're going to hurt somebody. This kid very clearly stated he was going to hurt people at a school. I am saying the FBI failed. This guy got guns.
Yep.
I'm not saying he didn't have the right to have a firearm. I'm saying he was going to do something. They should have watched him or done something a little bit better.
All levels of law enforcement failed there.
Law enforcement, all law enforcement, local, federal, all of them failed.
Yep. Yeah, no, I wasn't even I didn't even know that guy's name. I totally forgot about that guy's name, and I did not mean to compare him.
Right. Don't stop interrupting, man.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
You cannot strip the person's right to bear arms. even felons. Right now, like my view on people's gun rights have changed over the last 3 years. Even felons still have the right to defend themselves. Do I agree with them having a firearm? Not all the time, but do they have the right to bear arms? Absolutely. But if they were, once again, we're talking about nonviolent and violent. The violent felons that have continually used guns to hurt people, that's the hard part for me is like, yes, I do believe they have the right to defend themselves, but they've already shown that they will hurt others with that firearm. So that's that weird line. But everybody has that right. And even if those felons defend their lives from some kind of drug deal gone wrong and they defend their lives, they'll be charged with illegal possession of a firearm. They may be charged with manslaughter, but they won't be charged with like first-degree murder.
Okay,
because
so
James Madison. Let James Madison answer this because he knows more. He's on the law half of it.
I was trying to bring attention to James Madison on his hand up. That's what I was doing. Go ahead, James.
Yeah. Well, if they're committing a crime and they have possession of a firearm, there's enhanced penalties for that. So yeah, they will be charged with something that has to do with that in Florida anyway.
Right on. Go ahead, right? So you got something?
No.
Now you don't want to talk. Come on, man.
No, I lost my train of thought.
Okay, and I understand. Listen, I really understand about while it's on your mind, is speaking up and saying it. But we're trying to, keep it where everybody can understand what's going on. So, we try. You know what I'm saying? I think you understand.
Yeah.
Major Lee, you got anything to add?
I always have lots to add, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I'd like to take the topic to a different direction here, and that is the difference between, civil rights and natural rights and how we're getting them confused,
Right.
When we have natural rights, every person on the planet has a natural right. You know what I mean? So the first clue that we don't have, these amendments that we have aren't natural rights, or the fact that nobody else in the world has these rights. Okay, they're specifically given to us by our leaders, our founders, our government. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's called civil. The word civil means it originates from civil society and not natural society. Okay, so in nature, what we have is we have a right to defend ourselves by any means necessary. Okay, so if we're alone on an island and a tank floats up, okay, and we're the only person on an island and a bear comes charging at us, we could climb in that tank and shoot that bear. Okay, we don't have to wait for government to get set up, and we don't have to wait for them to say, hey, you have a right to bear arms. Okay, but with a civil right, it's a right that's granted again by the government to the citizens of that society, so they have a right to restrict it. And that's why, when people think, oh, these guys aren't fighting for my rights, I already have these rights. Civil rights are not set in stone like a natural right is. Civil rights have to be fought for. They have to be expanded, just like, women had to fight for their rights. African Americans had to fight for their rights. Okay, African Americans were made citizens. They still didn't have the rights that were in the amendment. That's what the whole civil rights march and activism was about. They were citizens for almost 100 years before they actually had the same civil rights that a lot of the citizens in the United States had.
And we've come a short way since then.
Rogue, you're roboting right now, man.
Let Raji
take
it. Let Raji.
Okay, go ahead, Raji.
I just want to use the term shot yourself in the foot, when you do something and hurt yourself. And that's what people did with racism, because a lot of the things that were the gun control laws happened because people made them to hold us down as black people with gun ownership.
Hey, hang on. Is it just me or is he breaking up? Is it just me or is he breaking up too?
He's good on my side.
No, I heard him good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's on my end. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
So what I'm saying is that a lot of the gun control and the evolution of the gun control came about because they were trying to control black people owning guns. So it kind of shot everyone in the foot there by them trying to be racist to us. So
Gotcha. Go ahead. Go ahead, Solo Yak.
And that was a lot. If I'm not sure if people have actually watched Audit the Audit, but Audit the Audit did a review on one of my videos and talks about specifically about the way Florida gun laws have changed and how it was specifically to prevent the African American community from being able to conceal carry their firearms. That's why there was an open carry law here in Florida for so many years. And then they adopted the concealed carry laws to make them actually start paying for their rights to carry, because they destroyed the open carry, made everybody, if you wanted to carry, you had to get the concealed. And once again, that's half of what I've tried to tell people is there is a big issue with having to pay for your right to carry. And, whether you openly carry, whether you conceal carry, I don't care. I want people to carry how they feel. The way I chose to start carrying is because I didn't have a concealed weapons license. I was almost robbed. So I had to defend myself. And that's why I started to open carry, and it's just continued from there, But for anybody in the United States, it doesn't matter whether
You went is
yeah, he broke up. He's silent.
Yeah,
to
we
me.
lost him.
you muted yourself for something.
Muted.
I don't know how. And I may be experiencing some difficulties over here too. I think
it was probably my hand. It was probably my hand. You hear me now, right?
Yes.
But it's basically what it breaks down to is people across the United States should have the choice to carry how they choose. Period. It's not about concealed. It's not about openly. It's about the choice. And
all right, Jay.
That's all that this is all about. It's about choice.
You got something to add, Rights?
Yeah, I just remembered what I was going to say. You were talking about like each individual case has to be taken with each individual case. Like, was this guy a violent offender? Was he just charged with some victimless crime and it's called a felony and he can't carry anymore? That's bullshit. I say we take away people's liberty when they commit a crime, but we don't take away any of their other rights, like voting. If you're going to go to jail, you're going to at least get a chance to vote on how jail is going to be for you, right? You know what I mean? And it's not like prisoners are going to have that much of a changing voice, even though we have a quarter of the world's prison population here in the land of the free.
Right.
We lead the world in that.
We working on an hour now, guys. James, did you have something to add?
That was I just remembered it was all in agreement with Solo.
All right, mute your mic, Rights. Yeah, I was actually going to see if I can kind of segue into something. I'm going to check with Rogue. Rogue, do you care if I share what's coming up in December with us?
No, not at all. Go ahead, sir.
All right. So this goes on about education and First Amendment, Second Amendment rights. We're going to be touching on that. But Rogue Nation and I are actually going to a police department while they're having a training session, and we have a half of an hour to sit down and speak to their top brass and all of their supervisors, sergeants, or corporals and above, which is really kind of fun. So if you guys had any questions for us to kind of ask them, I've got 30 minutes in there, and we're going to just present everything. I'm going to tell why I do it and tell them what they should do when they encounter people that are out there filming. Basically,
I got a question. You will be recording this, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, it's going to be recorded. I think they're going to do it. I've got my presentation, the PowerPoint. Just some basic stuff that's going to be just talked about and
Is it
give
going to
them.
be put up? Is it going to be put on the channel, Roku?
Yeah, it'll be on both our channels more than likely.
Oh, right on. Good deal.
And on Activism News Network too. I'm sure to be on that
Right.
because it's it's a first time happening. If you ask me, no one else has done this before, so I reached out and coordinated and set it up, and
That's awesome.
yeah,
That is awesome. Go ahead, Roger.
Well, can you ask them, and this might not be the best for our channels, but if you could ask them to educate 911 on getting more information when people call about being filmed, because it would save a lot of the officers' time and resources if the 911 lady could say, look, you have no expectation of privacy unless you feel have they personally threatened you, whatever, just go over the details. But the 911 operators are more educated to the rights, then they wouldn't even be sent half these calls.
yes, surprisingly, that's a good idea. The agency that I'm going to be doing it with, or we're going to be doing it with, is small. They're just like a recipient of the 911, so the county is going to be the one. So hopefully they can relay the message when we get this. But yeah, that's such a good idea. And a lot of the call takers in this area are really good about collecting information. I've heard 911 calls where they're saying, "Well, that's not legal. I mean, that's not illegal, sir. So there's nothing we can do. Thank you. Have a good day."
If all of them would do that, that would be great. Half of these police wouldn't come out, right? Especially in North Carolina, because I'm in a country, area. I'm not near the city limits, and I'd be damned if every time they call the police, they come out. And usually it's not just one; it's 3 to 5, right? And it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Anybody else got anything else on the Second Amendment before we close the conversation? Go ahead, Solo Yacker.
On November 22nd, we will be in Titusville. We are having a open, it's giving thanks for open carry. And it's going to be a good time. I'm going to be smoking some turkeys. I've got mashed potatoes. I got some veggies. I got some gravy.
Wow.
I got all the good fixings, all that good stuff. And we're going to be out there fishing. And then this stems from when we got our trespass rescinded, all this stuff. So now we're going back as a big group, and I'm hoping to get as many people out there. If you go to my channel, I've got numerous videos. Just go into any video in the last week, and there's a link to the open carry gathering. So it's gonna be fun.
Right. And what?
I'll take the time off.
Remind everybody what state you're in again.
I'm in Florida. It's gonna be in Titusville, Florida. It's kind of like in the mid part of the Central Florida area type of thing. Good spot.
I hate to miss you.
It's right where they launch all the rockets out of here.
Oh wow! I was in Mayo, Florida, up there. I wish I could have seen a lot of you guys from Florida, but I missed out on some of you guys. But I will do that on another show. Anybody else?
I know you're wrapping it up. I just want to say that, oh my gosh, this thank you so much again, Jeff, and everybody on here. You guys are all people that I look to for inspiration for everything. I'm one of the newer auditors on the scene, and I just want to say thank you to all of your work that you do and everyone that supports the auditing community. It's been fun. Thank you.
Right on. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Any closing statements there, Mr. Major League?
No, I think we had a great panel. Thanks to seeing everybody. Thanks for everybody that showed up. Special thanks to Solo Yacker tonight. He was the one gentleman I wanted to have come on. He's an excellent, like I said, Second Amendment auditor here in Florida. And I wish there were more people like him around exercising their rights. So it's a shame. Solo Yacker's holding down the Second Amendment, and we've got 300 people holding down the first.
Right. Right. Hey, wait a minute.
I'm one for a million, man.
I swear, it's just been the stars. I wanted to go out there. I went and got my. I don't have my wallet here, but I went and got my fishing license. I was going to call it something else.
Yeah, right. But I do. I've done First and Second Amendment audits. Evidently, y'all not aware of those, but I have done them. All right, I've done probably 6 or 8 of them.
That's why I started off on here first, saying your bravery, Solo. Thank you, man. And I've wanted to be there every time. It's just something has come up, I've been working, but now you told me November 22nd. I can't forget that day. I'm a big JFK conspiracy buff, so I'm with you, man. I'll be there. I'll make the time.
Just come out for the food, dude. The food's gonna be. James Madison got to eat the pork shoulder and all that good stuff. He knows all about that.
Yeah,
it's gonna be on fire.
I see that.
Right on.
All right, bro. Yeah, and I told you the experience that I had when I went camping there. I asked the park ranger in this Brevard County run park, hey, can we have open carry? He's like, no, there's no open carry in Florida. I'm like, oh, really? I can call somebody. I guess this was like right around the same time we were trespassed, maybe a week before or a week after.
Yeah.
But the very next day, the guy told me, he's like, no, you're right. You can carry wherever, sir. I was like, yeah. I was like walking around like I had opened that jar, but it was solo yacker.
And
if I may,
hang on, let me see this.
That was 3 months. That was 3 months of fighting for that.
let me say this. Let me say this, Peanut. All right, I didn't silence your voice. You was interrupting somebody. That's why your voice got silenced. So stop being like that. You know, you got took off the panel. Stop whining about it. Go ahead, Tent.
Yes, just if I may, because you know I've only spoken to a few of these guys. Haven't spoken to solo for a very long time. But see, as you guys know, I'm in Canada, right? And I actually live in a. I assume this part's going to be cut out, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
I know exactly where you are.
Yeah, I live in a very bad area, right? So like, there's crime right, literally in front of my home. Weekly, right? Somebody got stabbed yesterday morning, and I had a gun pulled on me last year down at the bottom of my street, and like just it's nonstop. So I have to take extra precautions when leaving my home, that I make sure that there's nobody out in the parking lot, things like that. I have to be very, very careful. And it is not hard for these people to get any legal gun. You're not allowed to have handguns in Canada unless you have specific permits, but it's not hard for these people to get guns, right? And a lot of people will say, oh, they come from America, that's the reason that we have guns. It's not the reason that we have guns, because if it's not a gun, it's going to be something else. They're going to find a way to do
box truck
harm to you. It's just the way that it's going to be. So the fact that I'm not allowed to have a gun to protect myself in any way means that I'm being punished for something that somebody else did. And then my life is actually in danger to protect people that aren't in danger. It's a very, very odd situation, right? It's distressing to me that I'm to pay a price for other people's actions.
Right on. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks, Tent, James Madison, Majorly Awesome, Raji, Wrights Crispy, Solo.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys coming. And I love this conversation. We'll have another one probably in a few days. I'd imagine it's going to be on the Third Amendment. Just a lucky guess.
That could be coming soon. That could be coming soon.
It could be. I'm just guessing.
People coming into your house thinking they can just sit there because they're friggin' going to confiscation of guns or whatever. Who knows what's going to happen? We don't know what's going to happen in the next.
With this new president, there's no telling.
Who knows? It could be Trump. It could be whoever it is, whoever the person may be. They could be the next person coming into your house.
Yeah.
So
that'll be a blue life doing it though. Sorry.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, thank you guys. I'm gonna close it out so we don't have to chop a bunch of this off. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks again to you, Jeff.
Yeah, man.
Right
on.
Peace.
Yeah.
Good to see
Mom,
you,
give me some chocolate milk?
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thank you guys in the chat for coming. Again, I wasn't trying to silence anybody. It's just when you interrupt, you get put in the basement. Just saying.
I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm Finterrupter. You don't know me?
That's what it is.
That's me, man.
And see, you done it, and you said, "Oh, I'm sorry," but the other person was like, "No, I gotta talk, whatever."
Yeah,
So yeah, but now I'm the bad guy. Now,
she's our girl, man. You know, you gotta you know how the cops treat the female officer.
Well, no, I don't have. I didn't try to
Hey,
silence her.
I'm not trying to.
I just wanted her to respect the people that was talking, and I made the rules before we even started.
I'm not trying to say you did anything wrong.
Yeah,
you this is your room, and nobody should tell you how to run your thing.
right.
And I'm not even saying that I disagree. Yeah, stop people like you stop me. Thank you.
Right.
I appreciate my friends who correct me to make me look good instead of like an overbearing jerk.
Yeah, and you took it and you know you went on with it, right?
Yeah, but not to say that she was an overbearing jerk. She's not.
No.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
I am sometimes.
Yeah, I can be that way too, and people correct me all the time. I mean, I like because I'm like the next one. If I don't say what's on my mind,
you're a very nice guy.
I will lose it, man. I will lose what I got to say if I don't say it right at that exact moment because my memory is so bad. But anyway, it's neither here nor there.
I feel bad that I took up time talking about stuff, and then when you gave me the time, I forgot because I was just like, oh, but it was just because there was so many things to talk about.
Yeah,
and it's how I started. It's how I said at first. I thought that with our 3 months of training, we could get a case by case basis by a blue ribbon panel of psychiatrists and veteran trainers, weapons trainers, to determine who can carry in our society besides police officers and stuff. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
A well-regulated militia. That's a well-regulated militia. But a case-by-case basis it is to be dealt with in a case.
And you know what?
That's why it's called case-by-case basis. You have to go to court. You can't be determined, oh, no, you're going to fuck up in the future. We're going to take your gun away because of what we saw in these last 3 months. No, so I marched back and I said, no, Second Amendment shall not be infringed.
You know,
when you exercise it, you suffer the consequences of it. That's what I wanted to say, and I forgot.
yeah. And we could do like a part 2 if we had more to touch on. Maybe we can do a part 2 of it. I mean, I don't know what Rogue wants to do with it.
Hey, we're still live. It says.
Yeah,
I just realized that. Oh.